Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome again to my podcast, Snack Thoughts. I say again, welcome to my podcast, Snack Thoughts. And just want to make sure I put this disclaimer out there. Any music that you hear in the background, I do not own the rights to it, the copyrights or anything. So that's just my disclaimer. But anyway, moving on, I just got back from a couple of weeks vacation or trip from New York City, just visiting with my son for a little bit, and this is the first time I've been back to New York City in about, I think it's between 8 to 10 years. And then prior to that, it's just been like years in between. But I left New York City, probably about maybe 20 something, 30 years ago, And so, what I would title this episode is that things change. And I'll say it again, things change, seasons change, peoples change, places change, And I noticed that about New York City is that it was not the same New York City that I remember growing up in. The New York City that I grew up in, it was more like Beat Street, graffiti all over the place, on the trains, on the walls. The city was run down, wasn't a lot of areas wasn't fixed up like they are now. But the New York City that I just recently came back from a couple of days ago, it was really modern, gentrified, extremely clean. And what I was really surprised about is that people in New York City obeying the traffic laws, and they had actually lowered the speed limits to include driving on local roads, and then also on the regular expressways. The speed limit pretty much runs around about maybe 50 or 45 miles an hour, which I was very shocked about. Maybe in some cases you might get it as high as like maybe 55, probably no more than 60, but most of it I saw was between 50 to like 40 miles per hour. But to be honest with you, within the 5 boroughs, New York City really reminded me of, I would say like East Sacramento. And that's where I'm at now. East Sacramento is in a very affluent area, and where those that are rich and affluent are. I remember, seeing all the, everything from private schools, different types of eateries and restaurants. They changed the landscaping. It's much more posh and upscaled. Cafes, you name it, but basically the money came in. There were certain areas that I remember in Queens where it was largely more Eastern European immigrants. And then probably maybe some Italians and Greeks as well. But the whole area had been gentrified with professional people, a combination, of different groups of races, but a lot of Asians, blacks to include African American, those that are some probably from Africa. And obviously different individuals that are Caucasian but of different ethnic backgrounds. But these were more professional and people that have money. All the restaurants changed, and I was like, wow, I really couldn't believe it, how much it had changed. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't have the poverty-stricken areas, but they really were pushed far out. They changed the landscaping of New York City as I know it. Once the money came in, I went where I visited my old projects that I grew up in. No longer, a bunch of new developments, condominiums, There have been buildings, within the old project that I have visited that had been knocked down and new condominiums put up. Totally different setting. But what my point is when I talk about how things change, people change, places, and things, what I found is that nothing remains the same. A place that I had been born and raised in and grew up in, it had totally changed from something as I remembered it, totally different. And then on top of that, I look at myself, how when I left New York City going into the military and going to different places, living abroad and living throughout the United States in certain areas, I changed. So both the city of New York and I, had both changed. Old friends, they had changed. And what I've come to learn is that nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. There are different seasons. You have seasons of winter, you have seasons of spring, you have seasons of fall, and you have seasons of summer. But nothing ever stays the same. And I think the importance to that is to be able to adjust and be adaptable and be ready, for change, and sometimes we can leave a certain place or people or things, and in our minds, we remember certain things as they were, not actually what they are in its current state of situation. And a lot of times when we go back to these places or people or things, what we remember them being in our mind as it were, past tense, is not actually what it or what they actually are in present tense. So it actually was a pleasant surprise because, in my opinion, the city did change for the better. To be honest with you, it's become dramatically safer. And I mean that would make sense if you're dealing with areas that when you bring in affluent people and you bring in businesses that service those that have money, of course, security and stuff like that, things are going to change. One of the craziest things I saw was I was down with where there were still a few projects left. And in Coney Island, there's a few projects that were left, and these projects, they now have security guards in them. And I was totally shocked. And so you have to be either buzzed into the building, and you have a security guard there, basically like a doorman. And these are in the so-called projects, what little bit is left of them. In New York City, they are definitely doing away with the projects, and some of them are being sold so that they can make condominiums or co-ops out of them. So the landscaping is changing now. As to where they have pushed the poor at, I have no idea, but it is definitely a city for those with the money, even though a lot of people have left because of the economic conditions. But totally different from what I remember it. It's kind of crazy, but yes, things change. People, places, and things, they do not stay the same. But I just wanted to make something really quick just to give you something to think about. And I will be coming back with more episodes on this podcast and more material on my YouTube channel. But things never stay the same. Things change. People, places, and things. But that is all I have on this particular episode for Snack Stores. Just a little bit of reflection. And I'm quite sure you guys can relate to things that have changed in your life, whether it's you individually or others that you've known and just places that you've been. But Anyway, that's all I have. And the name of my podcast is Snacks Thoughts. That's SNAKZTHOUGHTS. Snacks Thoughts. And you can find this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Spreaker, Acast, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and a host of other social media platforms. So please join Snacks Thoughts and share Snacks Thoughts. Push it out and share it. I also have a YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube. That's EricBroadus YouTube, or ericbroadusyoutube.com. And please go over there and check out my channel. I share everything from philosophical topics, travel videos, definitely information for the military and vets, and a host of other topics, So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube. Smash that bell to become a subscriber. Smash the like button to like the videos. If you don't like them, hey, smash the unlike button. Leave a comment. I love to dialogue with you. Everyone has a right to their opinion, has a right to be heard. And lastly, I'm teaching courses on Skillshare, and I will leave the link in the description. But the courses I'm teaching on Skillshare are how to succeed in the military, cultural diversity, leadership, and a host of other topics. So please join the class. But that is all I have on this one, guys. And hey, the holidays are here. Happy holidays. So stay tuned, guys. Got more information coming down the pipe. All right. Peace out, guys, and catch you on the next one.